Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for using my boyfriend's photo as a phone background? So my boyfriend and I have been together for 8 months. Yesterday I changed my phone background picture from a picture of my dog to a picture of him. It was a normal picture. He was wearing a suit. Right after that I took a screenshot and showed him. He blew up at me and said get rid of it. Why are you planning for the future? We don't know each other long enough to decide if we'll be together long term. I did change it back immediately, but he has been giving me the cold shoulder since. Am I the antagonist? Nothing you did was wrong. Actually, 8 months is more than enough time to have your boyfriend or girlfriend as your background. It doesn't sound like a healthy relationship if he doesn't know if he wants to be with you enough to the point where having him on your phone makes him irrationally upset. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. NTA 1. Break up. Dodge this bullet like your life depends on it. 2. Isn't that reaction a bit extreme? 8 months is certainly long enough for you to have a picture of him on your phone, unless you're not his primary girlfriend. Perhaps you're the other woman. His reaction just throw up so many. That reaction was way odd. You are not his main/permanent G/F. A shitload of red flags. NTA. A phone background is planning for the long term. Are you sure he's your boyfriend? Are you all really on the same page? Not the a-hole, but if this caused that strong of a reaction, you are probably more invested in him than he is in you. Right. In it. I mean, I could understand moving in together, having a couple of kids, maybe even planning vacations together, but a picture on your phone as the background? That's way too much. Am I the antagonist for blowing up at my husband for messing with my alarm and causing me to miss my exam? Hello. IF 23 have been married to my husband male 26 for a year. I'm in my last year of university and been so busy for the last 2 weeks, with many projects and finals looming. My husband complains from seeing me studying and not doing activities together or hanging out with friends anymore. I've told him it's not gonna last forever and that I need to focus because this is my last year and it's been the hardest. The day before the exam he wanted me to go with him to a friend's birthday party. I refused because I was busy preparing for my exam. He pleaded with me saying it's just 1 hour and talked about how his friends will be upset if I'm not there. I said no and shut down any further discussions. He got upset and called me selfish and inconsiderate, but then dropped it. Before I went to bed, I set my alarm clock like I always do, since I'm a heavy sleeper plus I stayed up late studying. The next morning I woke up at 9 AM. I literally freaked out and checked my alarm and found that it was set to go off at 9:30 am. I had no idea how this happened till my husband told me he did this to repay me for refusing to take one hour to attend the party, so he took this hour from my time. I couldn't believe it. I absolutely blew up at him, just yelling and screaming at him left and right. He just stood there shocked from my reaction and my rage. I got dressed quickly and rushed to the university. They didn't let me into the exam hall. I got into a lot of hassle to get them to reschedule the exam, especially since I had no legit reason as to why I was late. It was awful is all I can say. I went home and my husband and I stopped speaking to each other. He kept acting as if I hurt his feelings and traumatized him by yelling, and that I deserve what he did, since he was frustrated with my continual refusal to attend all events for the past 2 weeks. I might be wrong for not considering it, but I think that my exams should be a priority and his way of teaching me a lesson was not right. He did this intentionally to make you late for your exam, knowing that it would. You are correct. University doesn't last forever, and after it's through, you may go out and do more enjoyable things. NTA. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. That's a divorce level sabotage of your degree. Oh my gosh, this right here. He could have sabotaged your future career for a stupid party. I don't know what your grades look like, but one exam can make the difference between what degree you graduate with, and he could have jeopardized your degree by being a petty asshole. Your husband is immature and so selfish. I'm flabbergasted he isn't being supportive and trying to help you through this big milestone. I'm beyond raging for you. His priorities are messed up. He obviously doesn't support you. He feels the need to get revenge rather than dealing with his emotions like an adult. I don't think I could ever come back from such a blatantly cruel act. Sorry for the rant, but I'm so angry for you. I'm very glad they let you rearrange. He punished you because you didn't obey him. He tried to sabotage your degree, or at least passing a class worth thousands of dollars. Because you didn't obey him, not the a-hole. But I would be seriously reconsidering my relationship with a man who feels entitled to do this. I also wouldn't trust him for a longest time, if ever again. Set your alarm on your phone and change your passcode so he can't get to it. Make sure your bank account is separate. Yep, courses cost thousands. He wants to pay for that. Does he? And even if he did, how did he think she'd respond? Oh my, this is not a good situation. Am I the antagonist for telling my cousin he is not worth baby trapping? My cousin's Aiden girlfriend, Lila, is pregnant. It was not a planned pregnancy and they weren't properly dating. Aiden is 26, lives with his parents, has been going to college for the past 6 years, and will hopefully get his degree next semester. Lila is 24, has a degree, a full-time job and owns a condo. Aiden, his brother and I were hanging out when Aiden said that he thinks Lila got pregnant on purpose to baby trap him. At first I thought he was joking, but he said he was serious. Lila has been wanting them to be exclusive for some time, but Aiden didn't want that, so Lila must have gotten pregnant on purpose to trap him. At first I just told him that birth control fails all the time and Lila definitely didn't get pregnant on purpose. But he kept insisting, and I started to get annoyed, so I told him that he is not worth baby trapping. He is an unemployed 26-year-old living with his parents, and Lila is smarter than to purposely get pregnant from a man who can't even provide for himself, let alone take his fair share of providing for the baby. Aiden got really offended, told me he is worth more than his money and stormed out. His brother said that, even though he agrees with me, that was an awful thing to say. I think accusing his girlfriend of trying to trap him with a baby is ridiculous and an even more awful thing to say, but maybe I was too harsh with him. Am I the antagonist? He is not worth baby trapping. I informed him, says NTA. If he doesn't harbor resentment for the wife and child, the following 20 years will be simpler for him. Why do so many men believe they are attractive to their much more successful partner and feel they are hot shit? Comment by team member Charlie. Now for the top comments. NTA. Aiden shouldn't talk shit if he can't take it. NTA. Doing the Lord's work over there. For Lila agree that money isn't everything, and I can see how that's offensive to state, but a good response when a grown man is calling down his future baby's mother as though she's desperate, and he's such a good catch. Check your ego, Aiden. A fine example of check yourself before you wreck yourself. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister-in-law, who struggles with her weight, that I love my fat wife? First off, I know not every bigger person likes to be called fat. Most probably don't. But my wife calls herself fat proudly because she overcame a bunch of eds and loves the body she is in. She asked me to use the word fat to describe her appearance instead of overweight or something else. Alright. The story. I'm an average size 36-year-old dude with a fat 37-year-old wife. We have been married for 11 years. When we met, she was really skinny, and throughout dating, she confided in me about her anorexia. It got really bad many times. She also had depression. She has been in therapy for a very long time, and combined with medication, it has been working great. She recently gained a lot of weight and is now much heavier than she was when my whole family last saw her before COVID. My sister-in-law, my brother's wife, has been overweight her whole adult life and hasn't managed to lose weight despite trying to. She was always jealous of my skinny wife and made several comments about it. We all met for my dad's 70th birthday for the first time in years earlier this week. We all live in different states. When my wife and I showed up, everyone was a bit shocked to see her, but none mentioned it. My sister-in-law did though. She immediately started raising her voice at us, saying we know how much she struggles with weight gain and we should have given her a heads up to avoid triggering her. I told her that seems a bit ridiculous and that we really won't get into it now. She went on and on about it all evening, berating me about bringing a fat person without letting her know beforehand. She then said, you know how important a healthy weight is, especially to me. How dare you bring this fat woman who used to be your beautiful wife here without a heads up. At that point everyone was looking at us, and I just said, I'm sorry you are insecure about your body, but I love my gorgeous fat wife and we don't need to hear your crap. Really? She cried and left. My brother and some other people there called me an R. My wife thanked me. AITA? I'm a 36-year-old man of ordinary build with an obese 37-year-old wife. Because she conquered numerous eating disorders and enjoys the form she is in, my wife proudly calls herself obese. She requested that I describe her as fat, rather than overweight or another adjective, to describe how she looked. We don't need to hear your blather about my beautiful obese wife. I love her. AITA said. My wife thanked me after she sobbed and left. This action was carried out by me, a bot. Comment by team member Charlie. Now for the top comments. NTA. Why is your sister-in-law even upset? Because someone else gained weight. That's odd. It would at least make sense if she was mad that your wife lost a significant amount of weight and it made her feel bad about herself. But being upset that someone else is fat is just ridiculous. I'm so lost on why your sil is upset. Not the a-hole though. If seeing people is going to trigger her this much, she needs to stay inside. With a blindfold and no TV or internet and blacked out windows. Maybe just a sensory deprivation tank to be on the safe side. Totally not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law has some major issues and was way out of line. Am I the antagonist for teaching my baby to swim? My 6-month son and I just started a baby swim class. Parents must be in physical contact with their children at all times. Lifeguards are on duty, and there is one instructor for every 4 pairs who is in the water with us. My Miel hates this and has repeatedly told my wife she needs to stop me before I get our baby killed. Wife had no problem with the class initially, but after her mom started her campaign asked if I could wait until the baby is older. I don't want to because the class already started and is good for our son. I told wife if she had an actual objection we could address it, but I'm not okay with her mom interfering in our parenting choices. Wife said fine, but I can tell she's annoyed at me. I don't think Miel should get a say, and my wife's only issue is her mom's nagging. Am I the antagonist? The class could save the baby's life if it were to accidentally fall into the water without adult supervision. At least at my neighborhood YNJCC, these lessons were intended to begin at 6 months. Your mother undoubtedly has an idea about swimming that says you should wait until a later age. Comment by team member Charlie. Now for the top comments. Drowning is the 3rd leading cause of accidental death worldwide. The vast majority of those deaths are children under the age of 4. There is literally no downside to teaching your baby to swim. Only upsides. Not the a-hole. Drowning is actually the 1st leading cause in children under 4 years old. So more definitely not the a-hole. NTA. Children drown with shocking frequency, and it only takes a second. Start them swimming young. You could save their life. ESP if you live somewhere with lots of water activities. I was going to say this. Teaching a child to swim can save their life in the future. Mother-in-law is wrong and should keep out of this. Am I the antagonist for shredding my mother-in-law's list of visitation time? I'm prefacing this by saying that my F32 husband, male 34, is the only child in the family. His mom always wanted a grandbaby, and unfortunately she was never able to become a grandmother as my husband was married before and his ex was unable to have kids. He also tried adoption while single but couldn't. When we found out that we were expecting, mother-in-law couldn't be it. She started visiting daily, didn't do that in the past, started bringing stuff for the baby, and paid a lot of money. My son is now 4 weeks old. Mother-in-law retired right after he was born and told us she was making herself free and available for her grandbaby. She stayed with me for a whole 2 weeks and only went home recently. Those 2 weeks were unbearable with her being all over me just to get TK the baby. I was getting fed up, but I kept my mouth shut and played nice. Then she started complaining about missing her grandbaby and not being able to see him every day and watch him grow. She sent me a list called Visitation Time. In this list she mentioned all the times when we are expected to bring the baby to her. 5 days a week, and spending the weekend with air hours from 10 AM to 5 PM, and saying she had a bottle ready for feeding, and a closet full of diapers. Not just that, but she wants him overnight on Monday and Wednesday, that's 2 nights a week. Now as a new mom I couldn't imagine having my newborn son away from me for that long, and especially overnight. I called her to give her my response, which is a no, but she ranted about how I need to lose up and stop being unreasonable and emotionally too attached. This pissed me off NGL. So I took her list and used scissors to shred it into pieces. I took a picture of the paper shred and sent to her, hoping she'd get the message and get how serious I'm about my no. Apparently, she cried to my husband and the whole family because they claimed I was trying to keep her one and only grandbaby away from him after she waited for so long to have him, and my husband went on me after coming home from work to call my move childish and pathetic. I still keep getting backlash over this, and now I'm starting to think maybe I'm in the wrong for how I behaved the entire interaction with her, but I was just trying to enforce my boundaries after she brushed them off. Am I the antagonist? She essentially wants you to spend as much time visiting her as a full-time job. That level of contact is out of the ordinary, so I would proceed with extreme caution. I could picture her refusing to give your child back, or fabricating CPS reports in an effort to take custody for herself. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. NTA. It is your baby. She isn't entitled to any control over your baby. You could tell her she isn't allowed to see him at all, and she wouldn't be able to do anything about it. If she's desperate enough, she might try and sue for grandparents' rights. Probably, and hopefully, won't work considering how young the baby is, and testimony from both parents about how she is. But it's something she could try. NTA. Your mother-in-law is crazy. Sometimes you just have to meet people where they are. I mean, this lady isn't just asking to take a newborn away from its mother. She's basically asking to replace its mother. That's crazy enough. But then when mom very reasonably and very predictably says no, this mother-in-law keeps pushing for it. If anything, you went too easy on her. Stand your ground. Make a scene. Light the scraps on fire and send a second picture. And tell your husband to get out of his own ass and support you better here. Hell to the no with this mother-in-law. All of this. Plus, she called up unreasonable and too emotionally attached to her own 4 weeks old baby, while demanding to see that baby almost more often than its own parents. That woman is absolutely mental, not the a-hole op. Not at all.